Hello? Okay. You hear me? Maybe a bit louder, I don't know. Just a little. Okay, sounds good. No feedback, that's good. Recording?
Recording.
Great, let's get started. Well, welcome everyone to our first session today on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the OCA. And well, my goal is to introduce you or maybe go a bit deeper depending on your level of experience, on your questions, on how to contribute, what are the tools, what are the roles. It's giving you a roadmap of how this works, okay? So let me start with a question. So people in the room, are you already contributors? Are you would like to be and are not? So where are you at? So what's so people who never contributed and are just coming here to look what this looks like and feel something they could do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. People who already started or tried to contribute and are a bit confused or feel blocked or don't know how, they tried, but like they're missing something. There, wow, quite some hands, that's good. Okay, people who are seasoned contributors and are coming here just to see if I do a good job at this. Oh, there's a few. Okay, now I feel the pressure. Okay, just... So this is our agenda for today. So I decided to do like a roadmap. The who, the why, the when, the what, and the how. And I added a few things I believe are the biggest challenges in the future, places we should go to. Perhaps they map to some of frustrations and things that we need to do better. So let's see. So I'm going to go through this. And I'm open to questions. You can interrupt me to make questions if you have, so that I'd like this to be, I have quite some material here, and we can go deeper on things that are more interesting to you, and we can go lighter on other things that might not be so interesting, okay? Yeah, so this is just what I was asking. Where are you there? I hope you're not in the nightmare level, so. So who are the people who collaborate in the OCA, and what are the roles? So here is a map I draw on this. On the left you have, as contributors, what kind of contributors or contribution work can we have? So I added a level 0, which is users. I think just using the software published by the OCA, it's a contribution in that you're involved. And you have, you created an interest in what the OCA, so it's kind of the starting point. It's a level 0, but I think it's important, it's relevant. We want to promote people to use our software because that's where everything else on the other steps start. And then we have the actual technical and non-technical contributors. From its beginning, the OCA has been focused a lot on the technical side, but we believe, and we're doing steps, that the non-technical contributions are, in my opinion, as much or even more important than the technical contributions. So we don't want for the OCA to be a technical-centered community only. We want to embrace all the other skill sets. You can upgrade this to become a maintainer, and maintainers can be module maintainers. You can adopt a module, you can have a module, you are a maintainer and you can merge changes, you can have that code merged. You can do that at the repository level with the PSCs, are the project steering committees, which basically it's a group that's supposed to oversee a set of repositories, code repositories that are connected. And you could have this project-wide role. And they are the core maintainers. There's a few people who have access across everything in the OCA. And so they help out in all these repos. So those are the main contributors roles I can list. And so here, any one of you identifies with one of these roles? Okay. Perhaps tried being contributors? Yep. Okay. On the right hand, we have pure association rules. So we're not just a, there's the building side, which where the fun is, but there's also the association side, which is people and networking, and it's also has its own side of the fun. And how can you, how do people collaborate association-wise? So we have sponsors. They help us fund the events, the infrastructure for the OCA, and fund projects to improve tools and to move forward things like Open Upgrade. Of course, we have volunteers. A lot of those contributions are done on volunteering. We have volunteers here helping in the event. We have people volunteering to support the infrastructure on their own time. They help us all build and maintain all the tools that the OCA uses. Then we have association members. So who here is member of the association? Okay, so these are, so you are recorded as an active member and has an annual fee to be a member. So this kind of, it's a number that tells our strength. The number of members we have tells us how strong we are, how big we are. Then the members, so that's actually PSC representative. You can be a PSC representative, which is someone on the project steering committee that represents it to the association. Members can become delegates. So anyone here is familiar with the delegates, how this works? Anyone? Is something worth explaining? So the delegates is every year, when it's going to happen next, we have an election, an open election. We have a general assembly where the current delegates will vote to add new delegates. And these delegates are the people who can vote to elect the board. So the delegates participate in the General Assembly, and in the end, the board is supposed to, I'm missing the term, but it reports to the delegates. So the delegates is really like the big assembly that runs the OCA, not the board does it on the day-to-day, but the delegates is the group that the board reports to, okay? So we will be opening a new General Assembly with all the delegates, and people who are members and not delegates can apply. And if you get elected, you need to be a delegate to apply to the board. So any of you is welcome to apply for a delegate, and afterwards you can also apply for the board. So there's, it's a vote, it's democratic, anyone can, as long as they're a delegate, can apply to be on the board. So I invite you to do that. Any questions here? So these are big. What roles are involved when you collaborate or work in the OCA? Contribution-wise, association-wise, okay? Nice. Oh, I was missing this one. Prerequisites to collaborate. So before you can start collaborating, there are a couple of things that you need to make sure you have. So you will need a GitHub account. Even if you're not a technical person, it's kind of required because even documentation is hosted in GitHub, so you don't need to know how to code, you don't need to know how to use Git. but you can still use, I think GitHub tries to do an effort that it has a particular workflows you need to know, but non-technical users can use it too. So you should have a GitHub account. It makes things a lot easier. We ask people to sign a CLA, and for me, there's two big things around the CLA. One is it protects the association on the code that's submitted to the OCA. It has happened in the past that people were infringing licenses on code submitted to the OCA, and the CLA, one of the things there, it tells you that you're responsible to ensure that it's your property and you are allowed to submit that code to the OCA. So it kind of protects from someone comes complaining, it controls the responsibility we have. Number two is it kind of gives the association ownership of the code in a way that we can do quite some things. In case the original author no longer collaborates and we need to do, well, there are things that need to be done on licensing wise, like if Odoo relicenses there something else and it's incompatible. So it gives kind of a protection that the code that's submitted to the OCA, if in case of need, the association has enough rights to really manage it properly, and everyone can continue to contribute, to make use of it. And finally, it's important. There's a few guidelines. It's important. Being a community, this is not unique, but being a community, it's good to remember that we should be kind for the people. There are people from all kind of backgrounds, all kind of different experience levels. So you should be kind, be constructive, be open to diversity. We are a very, well, actually, we are a bit European-centered, too much European-centered at this moment. But we have in the community people from everywhere in the world, from all kinds of sensitivities, languages, and not everyone. I would say most people, English is not their natural language. So, yeah, be kind, be constructive, and there's a code of conduct, but I think that with these base rules, we shouldn't have to read what's in the code of conduct. So, any questions? Okay. So, why motivations to get involved? So I identify two big groups of reasons to contribute. So they're the selfish reasons and the principle-guided reasons. And I believe both are important. So you do have a lot of people who collaborate with the OCA for principle reasons because they believe in open source. They believe in the principles behind it. They believe in the freedom it gives. They don't believe in the way a lot of commercial software works. And they collaborate with the OCA mainly for these principles. So we have those people, and they are welcome. And we try to do things that always are in line with these principles. We also have people who contribute for, I would say, selfish reasons. So why contribute? Because I have this free software, quality software for me, and it's just, it's a value lever that I provide a lot more value to my customers as an integrator, and it's free to use, and it's good for my business. So I just use it. It's also great because for co-maintenance, I get a good part of the models I used gets migrated between versions for free. I just go there if I wait enough, and they show up migrated. So it's great for me being a selfish person. And so I think there's a bit of this. I have both motivators. So I love the two first ones. I also believe in especially the freedom and open source values. And then there's other reasons that to contribute is that it's linked to the giving back. If you strengthen the library, and I have a slide about this. So if your improvements and fixes, if you could contribute them back, you make, if you think about it, it's the feedback loop that makes the first bullet more valuable. If everyone does the third bullet, the first one is more valuable. So if you just do your tiny part of giving something back to the pot, to the melting pot, everyone will benefit from it. So there's a virtuous cycle there. I see people having trouble getting into that. There's some blockers, but once you understand that this is good, this is selfishly good for your business, it's, I think people are in. As soon as they unblock how to do that. And other reasons to contribute are also personal. The OCA enforces and promotes best practices around code. When you develop in the OCA, you're kind of forced to do modular design, or otherwise you'll be pushed back. You cannot get if you try to get this huge module that does 4 things and try to get it merged, you'll get pushback. People say break it down in smaller pieces. You'll get that kind of thing. So it kind of forces you to get into these best practices and good modular approaches. And it's good for you because you level up your skills. Everyone in all levels of experience learn every day by reading other people's code. I learn things frequently looking at code, things I didn't know we could do, or I see some smart ways to achieve things that I would be doing in a more inefficient way. So even if you have worked with years with Odoo, you have space to learn. And networking. So this networking is also, from the pragmatic reason, it's a way to meet other people, find work opportunities, business opportunities across the community. So I think there's a lot to gain from engaging. Okay. On the networking side, principal reasons, of course, for fun. Yeah, I think it's probably not the reason you get into it in the beginning, but I think there's a true sense of community. I think you'll see through these days, and people really, it's great feeling that you know this person for a month or years, and you interact with them through GitHub, and then you see them in person, and you have a drink with them, you eat with them. I think that's great experience too. It's kind of, I would say, cherry on top of the cake. Oh, I missed one there. The keep Odoo open source. That's also a great motivator. I think the OCA is a silent force that keeps Odoo in check, because the stronger we are, I think we help Odoo because we have all these people who build good software on the Odoo platform, and we can fill in the blanks on features that Odoo doesn't have. I think it keeps Odoo, the software vendor looking at the OCA close to them. I think keeps them honest and keeps them, well, this works. I think we help them keep the most of Odoo open source. I do believe this. So we have here a kind of a silent work. Just being here, being strong, helps a lot there. And we don't need to be vocal about this. So good. Still here, this slide is about why open source matters, and I'd like you to do an exercise. So how many community edition extensions do you find out there, and how many enterprise community available extensions you find out there? It's How does this compare? Can you go to the web and find an extension for the help desk app, or for the field service app, or whatever enterprise application? Can you find that? So the thing is, because of the private licenses, they impose you a limitation that you cannot publish. You have a non-disclosure agreement. You cannot publish extensions. You shouldn't publish extensions on top of the enterprise version. So that's kind of breaks the virtuous cycle of contribution, of publishing and extending, improving. It breaks the principle. So Odoo Enterprise provides some nice features, but you can't build what you build on top of Community Edition. So it's very different. The other big comparison is, so I can do the other stuff. I can get the modules, I can use them, I can take benefit of the maintenance that's happening elsewhere, but I'll keep my changes private. So, so what's the difference if I do all my future developments and keep them private? What's the difference versus if I open source them and publish them under the OCA? So what I see happening is that the quality of your code will be lower than if you built it to publish it under the OCA. Because you're putting it in front of other people, it's going to be reviewed. You won't do things you would do if you keep your code private. So the other thing is, when you do that, it's so much easier to just add an extra file to the module you have, rather than splitting your work into multiple modules. It's just easier, adding a file versus creating a manifest, a directory, and all of that. So you will lose modularity. Most of the time, the private modules you do will grow into a huge mess. And that happens one day after time. It's not at the beginning. It's only one more thing, only one more thing. When you look back, you have a huge mess. You can't do that in the community, because if you try that, people will stop you. So that has direct impact on the maintainability. So now you need to migrate to version 17 or 18, and it's a mess, right? It's a mess. So the argument here is that if you develop your future thinking on what can be published to the OCA and work in a way that you can plan to do that, even if you do that afterwards, not during your project, you will have benefits just by thinking that if I'm going to publish this, what are the requirements, what I'm going to be asked, you'll write better code. So I think this goes across the enforce or support best coding, good coding practices. Okay, this is one of mine ideas. This is kind of for me. I would like to see I think the OCA has the potential to be the business software Wikipedia. So the Wikipedia is based on an idea let's have a website that contains all human knowledge. It's a nice encyclopedia of everything. And it's going to be in all languages. And it's going to be co-created. So it's crowdsourced. Crazy, right? It's a crazy idea, but it's there. And you use it frequently, everyone uses it. I think the OCA could be the equivalent for working business software features. We could have, of course, that's kind of impossible, like Wikipedia is impossible in theory, but I think it's the space that could, with a proper organization, could potentially have almost all features for business software needed on any region or any sector. So I think, my opinion, we should work to create infrastructure that allows this to happen. So, and that's why we have a bit of that. Maybe we are like 70% there or something like that. And every day, if we have this loop that's working, that's building, we could go this way. There's a few problems right now to make this effective vision. I have that on my last slides. But for me, this is my vision for what the OCA in the end should provide. I don't know if this is too ambitious. You feel it's unrealistic. Anyone sees this? Is this a bad idea? It's a bit dumb? No? I like the vision. You like the vision? Good. It makes it easier to understand. Yeah, it's almost impossible to achieve completely, but that's the point for a vision. It's just a path. I want to go that way. I will never get there, but I want to go that way. But for me, the Wikipedia example tells me it's possible.
At least for me, it makes it easier to understand where should we go. If we get there or not, it is
Exactly. Good. Great. So, when here on the when, I'm talking about the situations I find, occasions I find where this is that I tell myself, this is a good opportunity, this is a good trigger, a good reason to contribute to the OCA. So on what occasions, what happens during my daily work that can think, okay, this is a contribution opportunity for the OCA. So what moments are good moments to do a contribution? And let's start with bad ideas. So I think I talked about this. So please, let's have the room talk a bit. So are here any bad ideas you see here? So private modifications to OCA modules. This is, you download the OCA module you want to use. It doesn't do exactly what you want. And you do your private modification, and you deploy it with your private modification, and you keep it for yourself. This is a good idea because it's easy, right? That's the easiest thing to do. Anything bad with it? Sorry? Non-maintainable. It's non-maintainable, right, because next, the author publishes a fix to that module under the OCA. What do? You get into merge conflict resolution mode, right? Fun. Good. The other level, you downloaded the module, it doesn't do exactly what you want. You are a good developer, so instead of modifying it directly, you made an extension to add that feature to that module. And you're doing it good because you isolated this additional feature on its own module, so you're doing good practices. You kept it to yourself. You didn't push it back, publish it back. So it's easier, right? You don't need to go through all those pull requests and wait for reviews and all that stuff. And and you have the linting, you get the linting right. So less work, you get your job done, and it's great. So any problem with this? And I'm not talking from the original author's point of view, from licenser's point of view, just for yourself, your future. What, can you get in trouble by doing this? Any idea? So, yeah. I would say, because someone else could implement this feature in the OCA, and now you have your, maintenance too, because now you skipping co-maintenance. If someone else picks a feature you published and they use it too, they probably collaborate with you on maintaining it. If you keep it private, it's on you, right? You miss the potential. It's not assured, but you miss the potential for the co-maintenance. And there's also the potential for happening collision because someone else builds that feature in a different way from you, and now you have this colliding things, and in the future you get this hard choice: do I keep my code or do I migrate what I did to this new method? And you could avoid that if you just published it in the beginning and other people adopted your code. It would make your life in the future easier, right? So a bit similar to the private reusable features. So it's a bit the same. I create a new feature. It's a bit of the same logic. So my argument is that you benefit in publishing it, and it's not a problem if it just stays as a pull request. Pull requests, non-merged pull requests, are not liabilities in the open source world. They are assets. Even in the Linux world, I believe there are these fixes laying around that people go and pick them and are never merged into the core. So it's a database of knowledge there. People suggested this. Maybe there was not a threshold to get it merged, but it's there, and you can go there and you can revive it at some point if you need. I've done that. I revived pull requests that were there with things similar to what I needed, and I did that this year with factoring for France. There was a module I asked, I found it, I improved it, migrated it, and talked with the original author, and yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be merged, but I'm not worried. My code is published, and the other people can go there and pick it up and make it at a level that people feel comfortable to merge. Okay, private complex customizations. So I think that's one is you are avoiding using community modules. You're doing the easy work. Just seems obvious to do all that code, not going through the due diligence of seeing if there are things you can reuse, and then you get a lot of code that you could avoid writing. So my line of reasoning is that a line of code that I write will have much bigger maintenance cost than one line of code I pick from the OCA. It's not a standard module. It's there in the middle. So if I can do something with the OCA code, I prefer, because I believe the maintenance cost for that will be lower in the long run. Okay, so collaboration queues, so things that happen that make me think that or trigger me into doing some collaboration in the OCA. So I'm looking for a feature, and I search. How do you do that? It's a topic. But I need a feature. I do a search in the OCA, and I find it. And is it available for the version I'm, because there's multiple Odoo versions, is it available for the version? Can I get it and use it? If the answer is yes, then I'm using it. For me, using it is collaborating in some way, some passive way, but and hopefully I could help document the module, which is something that we are improving on how to do. Maybe I can contribute back with some documentation, making it clear. Usually you need to poke around to get it working and see, and like if you could share back your findings, that would be great. And then I'm good. I found my module, I have my feature, I use it, good, I'm done. Okay, what if it's not available to my version? If it's not available to my version, then, well, it's the opportunity to me to do the migration. So I'm contributing with the migration. Why? For selfish reasons, because I need it, right? So migrating modules, I would say it's low-hanging fruit for those starting contribute, just starting some migration pull requests. It's a great way to learn, because in a lot of modules, the actual migration work, technical work is not a lot. It's mostly just adjusting some linter things and working the Git flow and work. I think it's a good exercise to start contributing. So but the feature I need is not there. It's not on the version I want. It's not on any version at all. What do? I will search if it has been proposed at all. I will scan the PRs to see if something was proposed like that, because there's a lot of gems can be there just where not merged at some point. If I find it, I try to revive it. So if there's a PR, the PR is good, I can review it. Maybe it's not merged because you are missing reviews. So if you're going to try it out, you're probably going to test if it does what you do, if it works well because it's not merged. So those are good ways to contribute. You're testing the module, you're sharing your results, you're putting a review, and you're helping the module to get merged. So that's a great way to help. You're not coding anything probably here. Maybe you fork it if it's an old PR and you do your fixes and you propose it again. So you can revive a module that was proposed. And okay, so I do this and I get a module, but then I find that it doesn't fit my particular use case. And that happens a lot because, well, these modules, they can't be universal. They do a good job at what the author wanted to do, but I do something a bit on the edge. It's still the SAT feature, but it's not quite there. So the sensible thing to do is, or it has a bug for my particular use case. Just make the fix, make the improvement on the module, which is not a new feature yet, so that's a different thing. It's just an improvement to make the module more capable of use cases. And I will push back that, publish that, propose that, those changes. Fixes, improvements, or it's not on my language, I can contribute with the translation. So here this is, I'm not doing this as a hobby, this is my work. Okay, so I'm doing these contributions as I'm doing my work to serve my customer. So it's just that I do it consciously, giving it back, because giving it back adds maybe a bit of overhead if I didn't do these things, but it's a short-term overhead that my argument is pays off in the long run. So I make it fit my use case, and I contribute to improve that module and add to the repository. And finally, well, this feature is not available at all, or it's a feature that feature is not what I want. I want a different feature. So last thing is to really create a new module and propose. I would say this is the hardest thing to do. I think all the others can be stepping stones. If you're starting to contribute, try to go after one of the others before you get to this one, okay? I don't say don't do it, try it, but it will feel harder. The others will help you make that look easier, okay? So, and if your PRs are not merged, don't get discouraged. I think that's part of the game. PRs are assets being there. They're knowledge that's being published. It's like a post on a group, or someone can go back there months, years later, do a search and find it. Oh, this is what I was looking for. So, okay. So we are here on the why still. So again, this goes with the Wikipedia theme. I believe that the OCA is a knowledge base, including the non-merge pull requests. So with the reason to collaborate with the OCA is to tap in this knowledge brain, all that code that's there, all those features. They are like, if you're trying to do something, what are the chances? Are you the first person in the world to find this need? I make that question constantly. I have a need for a customer. Am I the first one being asked this? No, this is so obvious. Someone else for sure had this problem. So that motivates me to do a search. There must be something. If there isn't, oh, this is kind of a huge gap, someone needs to fill it in. Let me promote my module there. So I'm probably not the only person in the world with this need. And if there's no module there, this will pretty sure be useful to a lot of people. The other knowledge base benefit you can get from the OCA is copy and adapt. because it's easy to go see how people solved technically and functionally a problem that's not this problem, but it's similar. I can go and copy the strategies or the approach and make my life easy, my work easier. So I can scour the code and copy and adapt and get an easier design based on what I see in the community. And from the collective brain chapter, you probably, if you participate in the contributors mailing list, you probably saw this. People make a question: how do I solve this? I have this issue, I have this idea, is it a good idea? So do that, ask for ideas. How do I solve this? Has anyone done this? And a lot of times people come back, oh, I solved that. I didn't publish in the module, but it's here, you can use it as a base. Or you get feedback on your design, so you can like propose a design, even a module. It's proposing a design already implemented, and you can get design. Is this a good idea? Maybe some people tell you, oh, you're overcomplicating. If you do it that way, it will be much simpler. Oh, I haven't thought about that. So it's a collective brain, and I think if you participate in contributors mailing list, you see it working. So take a benefit, take advantage of it. Okay. Already number 4. Okay, we were on time. Good. So room temperature until now. It's too fast, too slow, too theoretical, too... Right? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. Good. Now I feel, okay, I can continue. Thank you. Okay. Ways to contribute. So let's go into the more practical things. I wanted to spend a bit of time on the reasoning, on the why, because we have jobs to get done. And one thing is like I can't contribute to the OCA because I need to get my job done. I'll have so much time to do it, and I have a lot of stuff to do. I can't spend time with this. But if you step back and see it on a wider time frame, maybe you're not losing time. So that's what I'm trying to to argue. Okay, so what can you do exactly to contribute? What kind of contributions you can do? And we hinted them on the previous slide. So usage contributions, again, using the Odoo modules, because there are businesses that actively do not use OCA modules or choose to ignore it. And I think it's a pity for their customers, because they are getting much more expensive projects for the value they're getting than they could. So, and there's always so much to do any business. We would have used their budget anyway, but you're just delivering lower value than they would. So it's, yeah, I think it's a shame to do that. So I would add there talking about the OCA, because I try to do that, not overdo it, but explaining that you are delivering them value, all of these modules that, oh, I need the feature. Oh, not a problem. I'm going to get this OCA module for you, and you have it, and you don't need no developer. Oh, really? That's amazing. And how does it cost? No, it doesn't cost anything. Oh, really? You're kidding me, right? And this is the conversation when I tell them, I'm going to publish this and this feature. Yeah, you're funding, you're paying for it, but it's going to be published in the OCA. If you don't do a proper conversation, what's the point? I'm paying for it. You're publishing to everyone else. What are you telling me? No, I'm doing that because I'm publishing a 2 module and using 20. Oh, that's a bargain. Go ahead, right? So it's kind of a conversation. So talking about the OCA, it's not evangelizing that they have their business to run, but giving them this feedback that I'm being much more productive to you because I'm working this way. So, and the other guys who don't do it, they are taking your money and doing things that you could get with a fraction of the cost, and not spending time on these other things that are also important for you. So this is things that are important, and this contributes to the OCA as a whole. Okay, functional contributions. We talked about that. You can do translations in Weblate. You can improve documentation. It's not. We're working on it. but it's not hard to edit the text files in the repos and do a simple PR. You can do it from GitHub UI. You don't need to go to a command line tool to do that. So anyone can do that. And functional reviews on PRs, you can do functional review. If you're not a developer, you can go to the pull request, you can get into the run boat, you can do a test and say, okay, functionally this is working good. That's a totally valid review, and along with the technical reviews. And this is something I think we can improve. We could do new feature designs collaboratively. This, I don't think it happens. There were experiments in this, but I think this is something we have a lot of co-maintenance. We are successful at co-maintenance. We don't have a lot of real co-creation, and I think we could do more of that. Again, that's a topic for the future and things like, well, additional steps we can do. Technical contributors. So anyone here feels they were the, let's have hands up on functional contributors. Who here feels they're more suited for that? Do we have functional people in the room? 1, 2, okay. Is the term functional confusing? Okay, it's someone who's not a developer, but it's consults with the customer to configure, to understand the process, make the system work according to the process. They're not a developer, right? But in the ERP world, that's where most of the value is. It's there, it's not here. Well, there's a lot of value here, but most of the work is there. And this serves that, not the other way around. So if you think about it, the area we work, we're not working on operating systems. We're running businesses. This comes first. This is a tool for that. Technical contributors, so hands up, who is more on that? Yeah, I guess. We're good. Good. I'm trying to bring more of these people in the room. That's what our challenge. But yeah, you know this, what you do, pull request code reviews. If you don't know, anyone can do code reviews. It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to get credit, so that when you do your pull request, people, oh, I know that guy. I'm going to review his pull request because he did that to me. Okay? So remember, this gives you credit. I added that. That's made up by me. PR rescues. So that's sometimes when I'm bored on a Saturday afternoon, that's what I do. I go find some old PRs that are there, blocked. They are even approved, but they have like something that the merge doesn't work. I do a rescue, fix the thing, do a new PR, and just for fun. So there's a lot of blocked PRs, so if you're bored, you can do that. It's easy, it's not hard to do, and yeah. So it can be also useful if you pick a repo or something where you're active or you use a lot, or it could be interesting, so yeah. Version migrations, it's something that's, you just need to learn the process. It's easy to do. And it's rewarding because you get a new module. It's not really a new module, but you get a new module merged for that branch. So you like it, now it had 5, now it has 6 modules. So I think it's rewarding and it's easy. I advise, yeah, this is a bit of the order things I advise you to try. Next, fixes and improvements. I'll leave this last because this is the hardest. So fixes and improvements, it's quite easy for you. You use a module. I talked about this. It has a bug. So you can submit the bug fix. Or it has like usually a UI problem. A button doesn't render properly. New feature, some improvements, some like you find some bugs. Sometimes people don't do thorough testing when migrating between versions. It's easy to find glitches on modules migrated from previous versions. You can submit those. And finally, completely new feature modules. So kind of that's like you should see this a bit like a ladder. You take the other ones to learn so that you get confident and productive doing this. Okay. Good. Next, there are other ways to contribute. If you are already seasoned, experienced, you can. So we have the project steering committees that oversee several repositories. These people are maintainers on all these repositories. They can merge any module on those repositories. So you could propose yourself. I think this works from the mailing list right now. There's no other formal process to become a maintainer. And like, if you work a lot on the projects or the sale workflow or the logistics, you can and well, probably the current maintainers will ask you kind of some proof of work, and like you've been active and doing good work there, and you could step up on your roles here in the OCA. Some people enjoy their Saturdays working on improving the tooling, the builds, all of that. Yeah, so there's a bit of things, different things. And this is help people. This could be also just go around and help people and block things. Oh, why is this red build? Help me. I don't know why the test is failing. And can be a bit with code reviews. So yeah, there's other ways, none of those direct ways to help. Okay? Good? Questions? Hard time? 5 minutes. Okay. So the how, I'll go a bit faster. So are you familiar with the tools in the OCA? So yeah, you tell me what tools you have in the OCA that enable the work, help with the work. Yeah, go ahead. The OCA bot. So it's called the OCA bot, the merge bot. Yes, so you give commands and they run the merges. So that's there to help with the permissions, who can merge what. So it will check the maintainers and be able to see if you can merge or not. So you have the bot. Come on guys, hit up. The CI, so we have the automated tests, the automated builds and checks, and the run boat. So everyone knows what the run boat is? So every time you create a pull request, a live instance is made available. You can go there and you can test things. So you have a button, a click from the builds, the run boat, you click, you go, you log in, and you can do live tests, right? It's like the run bot. Odoo has a run bot. We built the run boat, which is much better for us. Okay, more. Okay. Okay, let's follow this. Tool set. We'll go back to that. So we have the tools, we have the repositories where the code lives, we have GitHub issues and pull requests. So this is a bit like too obvious, but just to keep in mind the checklist of all the things that I will be interacting with. You have the test builds, they were mentioned. You have pre-commit tool. Pre-commit tool is used in the builds to ensure that it follows the coding standards. And it does static analysis. So static analysis will scan your code for bugs, for obvious bugs. Like you declare a variable that's never used. That's bad coding. So it will scan, identify those things, and pre-commit, if you don't know, runs on your machine. So you should install it so that you do it when you run the commit, it will trigger pre-commit. If you have your setup right, you have that, and it's super important, super useful. The runboat live instances. We also, tools part, we have the contributor guidelines. They're pretty long, pretty extensive, but they're a good read, okay? If you go to some exotic topics like direct SQL, they could be a good reference on how to do things because they have examples. So they're not just like they're written in a way that help you do things, achieve things. We also have part of the pre-commit. We have a README doc builder. So you write the fragments, it builds the README. I put this here because it's helpful for the documentation part, because you have all those sections, and perhaps this can evolve and become even more powerful if we improve the way we support documentation. And we have also the OCA App Store. Is everyone familiar with the OCA App Store? Anyone doesn't know it? It's let's be honest, it needs love. It's not great, but at this moment, it's the best place to search for features. Because if you're looking for a module, you have 200 repositories, and it's hard to understand if something is there. So this ideally would evolve to the place you do search to find if a feature exists. Everything else working well. And then you have automatic publication. Well, I forgot, we also publish to the apps store, we also publish to PyPy. So all modules are available as PyPy packages. And the Odoo apps publication, we publish to the Odoo apps, but it's incomplete. It's incomplete because sometimes modules move from one repo to another, and the App Store does not allow for that. So the module is rejected. Or someone else outside the community registers that module name under their repo, and then our module cannot use that name, and it's rejected. So this is incomplete. It's good for marketing the OCA, but it's not a great place to search for OCA modules. We need to work on this to make it better so that it's the index where we have something that scans all the repos regularly and updates the App Store. And it's a great place to see one module, what versions it's available, because you see it there. You find a module, see, oh, it's available on all these versions and not on this one. Okay. Okay, we are just on time. Give me 5 minutes. Communication channels. There are two key communication channels, which is the most effective, the contributors mailing list. In doubt, you can make a question there. It's a good place to broadcast. It's not the best place to run discussions. For discussions, the best place is GitHub issues and pull requests. I would argue the best practice is to open an issue or on a pull request, have the place for the discussion, announce it on the contributors mailing list. So these for me are the key, most effective channels everyone uses. There are more, but in my opinion, not everyone uses those channels. We have Discord, but not everyone is Discord. We used to have, I think we still have an IRC channel. I don't know if it's active. It didn't have a lot of activity, so probably not. We have the GitHub discussions, but I personally struggle because I don't get notifications when it's going there, so I miss them. So I don't think, maybe it can be made better, but I think the key ones I trust are those there on the top. So in doubt, I post to the contributors mailing list, everyone is there. And if you don't have to run a discussion, you can just draw attention to a discussion elsewhere. Good. Okay, finally, a few key challenges for the future. So we're not going in all the details on the how-tos, but I wanted to give you a map. So this is to give you a map of the things we have, and I just gave you a picture of the tool sets we have, the tools we have in the OCA. I think I forgot WebLate for the, oh, it's there, WebLate and Sync, Doc Builder, it's there, WebLate, for the translations. Challenges for the future, things that I think we need to improve, make work better. So there. So one thing we need to work, and we have been actively discussing it, is contributor onboarding. So I tried to give a bit of what could look like. It's like I gave you contributor roles, several levels, things you can do. Maybe based on that, we can have like a clear contributor onboarding. When someone arrives, we share them a document, a package. Oh, this is kind of, look at this roadmap. You can do this, and then that, and then that. So you gradually do small steps, achieve things, and feel motivated to progress until you are a seasoned core maintainer, right? Contributor recognition might help there. So find ways to recognize people for the contributions, like recognize the most productive people, people who have more pull requests or get more code merged. It's a bit loud there. So improving category recognition, I think that we can do a bit better there. Discoverability, so that's the App Store problem. It's finding if a feature exists. It's a problem, you need to go several places, a mix of tools. I do searches on repos, I do searches on the App Store. I think there's a search site, I don't have the link, that does this. I use the DuckDuckGo command, bang OCA module name, and DuckDuckGo has a search helper on the App Store, on the OCA App Store. That's probably a better search algorithm, uses better search algorithms than the the ones we use. Okay. Building documentation and improving documentation, supporting that. So that's a big topic. We have just a track this year for that. That's a big thing, and we want to gather functional people contributions. We want to make the models more discoverable. A lot of them, the descriptions are not very helpful in what they actually do, so this also helps on the discoverability. I think we could nowadays get what I called, it's not automatic versions migration, but assisted version migrations, but between a combination of tools that follow rules, maybe a bit of AI. I think we could do kind of assisted, like having a automatic proposed migration that is reviewed by a person, something like that. I think we could speed up the migration process with how we are with AI. I think there's a huge potential to make it work there. That's something a bit ahead. And the other thing is the co-creation I mentioned. The way this could work is we start collaborating on a module, not instead of right now it's mostly I propose a module with a PR and I get a review, and that's where the discussion starts. And maybe someone tells me my design was not great, but I already coded it. Maybe we could start earlier. We could start collaborating at the design phase and the design options, and then only later start building the module. So that could be an idea. But finding ways to do more co-creation could be helpful. It's a challenge, it's not easy, or otherwise it would be working already. But I think we have so many co-maintenance, we could do some more co-creation. And yeah, we overtime. Sorry about that. There's a talk next. So yeah, I'm open for a few questions. And one of you are going to present next? Yeah. Okay. I'm taking some of your time. I'm sorry. So this is the presentation I had for you. Was this helpful? Did you learn new things, or okay? Or maybe structure the things you already know? I hope at least I was able to organize the ideas of things. I knew all of this, but I hadn't this organized in this way. So if that's the case, then I achieved my goal today. Okay, good. Thank you.